Hello and welcome to Monkey's Paper Palooza Craft Corner. Today we are going to be doing a video on a collaboration stamp kit made by two of my favorites by Hero Arts and Pink Fresh Studio. And it's the You Make a Difference collaborative stamp set. So this is the set. And as you know, I love Hero Arts stamps, but I also love stuff from Pink Fresh Studios, because their stuff is always original, new, and very, very beautiful. So here is the stamp set. And what's nice is you get this beautiful stamp set with this beautiful frame stamp. And you can use all these wonderful little sentiments they have coming with it. Like, we believe in you, I'm your biggest fan, take pride in how far you've gotten, and have faith in how far you can go. So proud of you. You make a difference. You amaze me. Best wishes. Will it be easy? Nope. Will it be worth it? Absolutely. And like I said, you make a difference. All these really positive little sentiments. And since I ordered through Pink Fresh, they added this beautiful little floral die free with purchase. And I love it. It's perfect for this little kit. And it is a very beautiful little filigree flower. So we will be making some cards with this. I'll make 5 cards in total, showing different ways that you can use this kit. And it is a limited time collaborative kit, so you may not be able to find it in all places. I know Hero Arts showed it was sold out on their site. Pink Fresh did show some still available on theirs. Alright, so it is a very beautiful stamp. And like always, Hero Art stamps are super sticky and super high quality polymer. So you will have a lot of sticking on as you place this. So I'm going to just place this on there. And for my paper, where I have it cut from my cards, I find sticking my magnets in the center seems to be working very well with this, because it's really no place to put it on the side unless you stamp it on a really big square piece and then cut it down. So we are going to start by doing an embossing, and I'm just going to do a white pearl embossing on this just to give it a nice pearlescent shine. So I'm going to come over here with my anti-static, and I am going to press this down on my Precision Press Advanced stamping tool, and as you see, we get this faint little lines where the flowers are. And I'm going to use the Wow White Pearl for this. And what you're going to notice is it's not going to be a white when I do it on this paper. One thing I've noticed is when you do pearls on darker paper, sometimes it takes more of the qualities of the paper that's below it. And since I'm low on this, I'm going to have to do a couple tap outs, because this is such a big piece. That's pretty. You can even see how beautiful the little floral design is on this. So, like I said, heat embossing this, you're going to notice it's going to take more of a silver look to it. And that is mainly because of the color you have behind it. Now, if I would have put this on white, it would have gotten really white. If I would have done this on blue, it probably would have looked a little bit like a light blue. That's the nice thing about pearls, is a lot of times they'll take the qualities of what's behind it. So there's this one. So I like it because it's kind of a silvery look and it's really pretty. Or at least this is what it does on my craft papers. So I'm taking some Cottage Cuts stitched frame dies, and I am going to make a little frame on this card. I don't know if I'm doing this completely even or not. Probably not. Sometimes doing these is really hard to get a good angle and trying to find center. That in there, and then I'm going to put that inside to make another frame. And I've cut that out of the little frame out of a silver pearl. And I'm going to now take my distress ink, and I'm starting with a worn lipstick, and I'm just going around this frame and giving it some color. Just blending my inks. And I think I'm going to, yes, maybe add some spice marmalade to this, just to add some pretty color to it. This card is going to be a very basic card. It's not going to be very elaborate. It's just showing some of the basics you can do with this kit. And there we go. So I'm also putting this on a kind of gray tone card. Now I'm going to take some Scotch tape. This is their Scotch foam tape, and I'm actually doing it in the smaller roll. I was about to use the larger roll and then realized I'd be doing a lot more cutting than I wanted to do. So I'm just going to use my thinner one. I believe it's a 1/2 inch. And I'm going to stick that right on top of this. And I'm going to go scoot this down just a little bit because I am going to cut this down. And yes, it does make me a slightly smaller card, but it's still a very beautiful little card. Of course, going to put the little silver frame inside too, but that I'm going to kind of go inset a little bit. So I'm taking my Nuvo precision glue and I am going to put a little bit around it, and then I'm going to place it kind of inset. And there we go. So now that we have that done, I also wanted to add the little die cut flower. See how pretty it is? It's actually a very pretty little filigree flower. But first I'm going to start by putting my little sentiment in. And I'm going to use You Amaze Me. I'm going to do this in an ombre effect. So I'm going to take some rosebud. And I believe it is the Tangelo in my, I'm just trying to line this up. But I'm doing it in the Tangelo and the Rosebud, and I'm just going to go across it and do the light to dark, and that will give me my inks. You amaze me. You are special. So now I'm taking my little flower that they sent me, and I'm just going to glue it on there. For some reason, it's not sticking very well, so I'm going to use this and put some weight on it. And while we do this, we will get another one cut out because I decided after I cut it out that I wanted two. One on the bottom, one on top. So I'm going to cut that other one out and get that ready. Let me check on the glue on that one. And then I've got this one. Let me get it out of there for you. And I'm going to stick that one below it. So that one looks like it's pretty well dried on there now. So let me get the second one on here. And try to do the same thing. It doesn't want to stick. So I'm going to use my Cricut plate this time and just to hold it down while it adheres to the card. Alright, so now I'm going to pull out my magnets from my Wendy Vecchi Make Station and use them as a way to hold down this flower. After all, we're on a magnetic base. I can just stick it on top. So now that it's all dried, I'm going to start by doing my sentiment. And I am choosing the little longish sentiment that came with it, saying, take pride in what you have done and have faith in how far you can go. There we go. Now to pop this a little bit more, I'm going to add some of my Magenta Mermaid sequins from the site to give it that little orange and pink feel going through. They have shades of orange, pink, and silver imputers in them, so it's perfect for what this card has going on. So yes, a very simple little card, but very pretty. So I'm going to add some around the flowers too. That way we have a nice, even kind of decoration going on. And there we go. All right, so for our second card, we're going to do this time a full force inking. So I'm taking some tuxedo black and I'm just going around the stamp. For this one, we are going to do a little bit of coloring with markers. So we've done kind of ink blending with the kind of a resist technique on the first one. Now this one, we're going to use the stamp itself to make a fun colored background. So I'm just going to press this down. I like to just sometimes just let it sit and let it seep into the paper, make sure it all goes through. Get these little sections I didn't take. There we go. So I'm going to use my dual brush markers to color these in. We're going to do the green. And there we go. And as you see, one reason I like using the dual brush is that they don't seep through as bad as some of the markers do. So you don't get that seepage through the other side. And I'm using the fine point, but later on when I do the flowers, I'll be using the brush point a little bit more on these because it will fill in the space a lot better. There is that. Alright, so now we're going in with the pink and the purple. And notice this orange is a little goopy. Let me clean it up a little bit before we go. Going in with the yellow. Baby's breath. Centers of all the little daisies. And there we go. Isn't that pretty? Inch of ink on the back. So that's what you can do with your dual brush pens, just coloring in. You can also do this with Copics, so Copics might have more bleed through. So now I'm taking an Altenew die that I have had for a while, part of the Simply Word dies, and I have cut it out about 5 or 6 times, and I'm going to stack these. So if you ever want to add dimension to your card, this will build it up. It is a very fun way of making very bold word cards. And it actually holds up a lot better in the mail than 3D mounting them or even putting foam behind them, because it does not squish because you get this hard piece of stacked paper. So while these are drying, I'm going to just put one of my Cricut mats down on it and let it dry while I do the other layers. So I'm going to keep on pulling out the little pieces and stacking them on top of each other using my liquid glue from Tonic Precision Pen, a Nuvo. In there. So now I've got those stacked. I got 2 stacked on those, and I got 2 stacked on this, and then I have 1 for in the middle. So I am going to take the one that is more dry. First, I'm going to poke out all this residual that's on it with my Spellbinders. And I'm just going to add this underneath that. And then once we get some more glue on it, we're going to stack it on top of the other ones. And that together will make our stacked word die. So I'm going to let that dry for a little bit. And I could do that with the eye, little dots for the eye too, but I'm going to use a little embellishment for that, only because I want something slightly different going on with that. So now that everything's dried out, let's get this glued onto our card. So I'm going to go back in with the glue one more time, just to glue it down on this card front. There we go. That dry, and while that is drying, I am going to start doing our sentiment. So I'm doing a little sentiment square underneath the friend. I'm going to be doing it on black cardstock. So I'll get some magnets ready, get them in place. And I'm going to use the You Amaze Me. So I'll get some anti-static on there because we're going to heat emboss this. Right now I'm going to do that in the Hero Art Silver embossing powder. One thing I love about it is how liquid this becomes. Almost becomes like a liquid metallic. It's beautiful. So I've cut that down to the perfect little size for that. And as you can see, that little die cut is glued on there. And you got some beautiful dimension to it. And I'm going to take some foam and I'm going to cut it down and stick this little sentiment strip down to it. Even that is a very adorable design, but we can go a little bit further. And I'm going to use some of my translucent purple rhinestones to embellish this. So like I said, we're going to do one on the eye instead of doing the dot. And then I'm going to put some randomly in the flower sprigs. And then inside, we're going to put the sentiment. You make a difference. And to kind of class this up a little bit, we're going to put some lacquer pen from Hero Arts on it, just to give this die cut a little bit more glitz and make it look a little bit more fancier and glossier. And there we go. Almost to D. And there you go. Isn't that really pretty? It's going to be so pretty once that dries. It's going to be clear and totally glossy. All right, so for the next card, I'm going to do the same kind of coloring effect, but this time I'm going to use watercolors. So I have this on a watercolor sheet. And I'm going to do this in a gold embossing powder. I'm going to use the Hero Arts Gold. And we're just going to use that as our base coat underneath the watercolor. Because I love watercoloring over embossing. I feel like your lines stay more true. They don't blur or run. All right, now a little spot I want to get a little bit more. There we go. Put that out of our way. All right, so now that I got everything blown away that I want off of there, I'm going to just heat set this. And it's going to turn into that very liquidy metallic gold. All right, so now I'm going to be using my Daniel Smith watercolors that I actually got in a kit from Hero Arts. And I think it'll make a beautiful little autumny kind of floral kit, which is perfect for this time of year as we're getting closer and closer to the autumn weather. So I'm starting with the green grass and working my way into the other colors. And sometimes I notice it gets a little dark, so I'm just going to sponge it a little bit in some areas. Yeah, almost like a almost pinkish orange. Now we're doing our yellows. Going in with the orangish color. Now with a brighter red. I'm going to mix some colors and make a darker kind of purplish red. All right, so now that I've got that all watercolored, we are going to go add our sentiment. And I chose I Believe in You. And I'm going to do that in Cottage Ivy. Kind of go with the kind of earthy tones that we got going on in this card already. Or We Believe in You. Sorry about that. And now I'm going to put a little bit of distressing. I trimmed it down and I'm going to take some vintage photo and go around it and give it a little distressed look. That's not so bright white on this craft cardstock. It gives it kind of like a very fall-y, kind of autumny flower look. Because right now I know in our area, the goldenrod and the ragweed has gone crazy, and our area looks like this right now. Our flowers are starting to look more orangey and yellow and green and brown, and less of the bright purples and yellows and pinks that we had this summer. So I'm going to cut some of the wider Scotch tape this time and make a raise back to this. And I'm going to adhere that to this craft card form to give it that beautiful kind of very rustic look. Try to line that up. And now I'm going to also add some sequins to this. I'm going to use the gold just to kind of go with the gold color that's in the background of this card, because there's a lot of gold going on and I want to tie that in a little bit. So I'm going to put some of these gold glitter ones on there. They're a 5mm. They are available on our site. And I'm going to add those to this card. Now I'm going to put in here for a sentiment, I'm going to put so will it be easy? Nope. Will it be worth it? Absolutely. And I'm doing that in the same cottage ivy. And there is that card. Isn't that pretty? All right, so for this one, I'm going to do what I call a color press. And what color press basically is you're going to press different colors with your markers onto your card and make kind of an overlapping press design. And I love doing this, but I will say it is easier to do this design on a Misty or on one of these Stamp Perfects or press that is hinged, because you get more of the same alignment all the time and it tends to slip more, though I am finding this paper to slip a little bit for me, only because one quality of the Hero Arts is they're such a high quality polymer that it sticks very well to the paper, and when it does, it kind of moves your paper. But with this press technique, honestly, perfect alignment, especially with these flowers, is not necessary. And actually, if you're off a little bit, it actually makes it more pretty. So for this one, I wouldn't usually care about it. If you have a more ornate pattern that you want more perfect, making sure you're stuck down very well will be a key. You can also add repositional tape on the back just to hold it down more if it does slip around too much for you. So I'm going around, I did yellow first, and the key is to do light to dark. Only because if you overlap a little bit with the light underneath and you cover it with the dark, it won't show as bad. But if you do, let's just say the dark first and then you have to put the light on, it's not going to show underneath. So it's a great way to just keep your colors so they blend well together. And this card, of course, has tons of green because of all the leaves and the foliage. So I'm just going to go over this and just make a nice little frame. We're almost done the green, and then it's just the pop colors. So we're almost there. All right, make sure we're sort of lined up again. All right, so now I'm going in with, I believe it's the orange. I'm just going to give these flowers a little bit of more definition by adding a little orange tinge to it. All right, next I'm going to do, I believe, my pinkish color. No, blue. We're going to do our blue flowers first. Now our purple. I think I'm going to end with the pink. Get all those little flowers in there. Color press is a very fun technique, and you get this beautiful like ink press design, which is really pretty. Now I'm going to come over here and clean this stamp off as much as I can Only because I'm going to come over this now with some of my embossing ink and clear embossing powder. Now what that does is it gives your colors a more bolder look, and it also gives a little gloss. So it gives this fun definition. So I'm just going to come around here with that and do a quick hit with it. All right, so we got that down and it's looking pretty good. So let's get some of that clear embossing powder. And I'm using the Recollections clear. I'm just going to go around it. Okay, now I'm going to heat emboss it. And you're going to see the colors brighten as we do this. And that is because the colors are going to pop with the gloss. And that is the beauty of doing this technique, is when you get that gloss on top of it, you're going to get such a beautiful design. Now I am doing this on top of a beautiful seafoam green card form, and I'm also adding a strip of vellum just to add some fun definition. So I'm going to take this strip of vellum and I'm going to emboss on it the sentiment for this card, which I am using. This is going to be I am your biggest fan. That's what I chose. And I'm going to do that in the silver. So the trick of heating embossing on vellum is to go underneath the vellum, because if you go underneath, you don't burn your vellum and you don't overheat your embossing powder. And there it is. I'm your biggest fan. Now I'm going to just add this strip of vellum to the back of my card. So I'm just going to go over it, and then I'm going to line this up as close as I can, holding it down and aligning it up along the back. And then I'm going to snip this little excess. I could leave it, but we'll get rid of it. And you see this beautiful color press behind it. It's just so pretty. Get a new one because the other one seems to be blocking. Isn't this pretty? I love this card. It's so pretty and floral, and it's perfect. So now I'm going to take some of my patina little matte sequins that I have, and I'm going to add this to various places in the card just to give it that beautiful, pretty look to it. More, and I think we'll be good. A couple more. There we go. Isn't that pretty? Just a pretty little note card. Now for the last card I'm going to do, I'm doing a shaker card. So this shaker, I'm just going to go in pure silver all the way around the black panel here. And I'm going to do something fun. We're going to color with color pencils, and just to give it a soft look. So I'm going to heat emboss this. And then we are going to have fun with our coloring. Now that we're heat setting it, you're going to start seeing the silver shine and that nice metallic. And like I said, we're going to color this with color pencils. I'm going to try to do this in a monotone kind of feel to it. So I'm going to end up using silver and white to tone this in. As you're seeing this turn from a matte silver to a beautiful glossy metallic silver, we're seeing this beautiful outline. So I'm going to trim this down and then also fussy cut the center. So like I said, we're going to make this into a shaker. So I'm going to put my little window in to start. So I'm getting some of my Judikins Acetate window paper, and I'm going to lay that right down after I trim it down. And then we get our shiny little window. Till I am done coloring it, I am going to just lay it flat. And like I said, we're going to just shade in the flowers and the grass and put kind of varying kind of silvers and whites in it, just to give it a little bit of texture without going over the top. And that will allow us to have this beautiful monotone card. So I'm just doing the little daisies and the grass blades. I'm not going too crazy because it's just going to be a simple little card. And it's not the detail that we're worrying about. It's just a little bit of dimension to it. So this is a very, very fun way to do this. You can also do this with colors. If you wanted to color these in like we did with the markers and do some bright colors with some bright color pencils, that too would show up on these flowers and it would give them a beautiful little design also. But like I said, I'm going for the monotone. We already did color with the markers and the watercolor, so let's go monotone for the rest of this. And we almost have this all done. So to make a shaker, of course, we're going to take our Scotch foam tape, and I am going to make a little frame around this panel. And I used the big one, and now I'm going to use the smaller strips on the side, only to make this look a little less thick on the sides. Now inside I am going to use some of my silver flat glitter sequins just to give it that fun little silver touch up in the back. So I'm going to peel back the Scotch. And then I'm going to just put a panel of black behind it, and there is our fun shaker. So to finish it up, now that we have that all built, I am going to put the sentiment "I am proud of you" in silver on a little black piece of scrap. That on there, and of course we anti-static it, and now I'm going to take some of the same silver and I'm going to emboss that on there also. And we're going to get that nice beautiful silver tint back to this. It's so fun when you see it changing. It's like boom. I love the Hero Arts for that reason, because you can just see the metallic just change right over. I'm going to have to buy some more of their colors because they have a beautiful pewter as well as bronze and other golds and silvers and pearls. Start building a collection of theirs. So I was going to do this in the center with a little vellum behind it, and I decided it would take away from that beautiful window. So what I want to do now is I'm just going to side slash this and put it on the bottom with some foam tape just to give it a little 3D effect, and try to keep this a little simpler, because honestly that shaker should be the main part of it anyway and should be the focal point of this card, as well as the beautiful silver flowers. So we're not going to want to take that away from that. We want to just add little bits to it. So I'm putting 3 of these silver glitter flat sequins on the front, and then I'm also going to touch up some around the bouquet, I think. Isn't that fun? Or maybe I might just leave it. I'll leave it. So great way to make some beautiful cards with this wonderful collab stamp set. And as you see, there's so many different techniques you can use with it, from watercolor to color press to just coloring it with markers, or even heat embossing it and ink blending it, or even using color pencils. So, if you like this video, please check out the last video we uploaded, as well as one specially curated just for you. And like always, we welcome you to like, subscribe, and ring for notifications, but also check out our website, our Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest pages, and now our new WordPress blog.